All right. Good morning. What is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with another live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I already see people in the chat, which is awesome. I appreciate you, TJ. Yes, happy Friday, last one of 2023. Everybody gets to use the greatest dad joke ever. And you say, see you next year. It's great. Hits every time. As everybody knows, probably, hopefully, we're live at this time every Wednesday and Friday, 11 a.m., going through the entire NBA slate, giving out one pick for each game at least. Today, there's a 10-game slate, so we're going to have 10 picks. Although one note that I do want to make is that there are currently no player props out for the Grizzlies versus Clippers game. So I'm not going to have anything for that game. Instead, we're just going to have two picks for one game, getting us to 10. But if you do want to bet that game, check out just the Betting Pros cheat sheet later in the day. I'm guessing it's just injury news and stuff. That's always how it goes with the NBA. So check out the Betting Pros cheat sheet. Again, if you specifically want to bet that game later in the day. The good news is we had another profitable day on Wednesday. That now makes it 3 straight days in a row in which we've made money. We're up over 5 units in that span as well. When I say 3 straight days, I mean 3 straight streams. It was a slight profit on Wednesday. We went 5 and 5 plus 0.39 units, but we will never apologize for making money. Let's hope for today our Friday demons don't come back. We've had some rough Fridays. I'm confident that's not going to happen today. Total results on the entire year with these streams were up 9.9 units, ROI of 5.41%, with an overall record of 92 and 91. It's the argument that I've made every single stream, why you should be betting plus money bangers, because you can win roughly half your bets and make money. While you are here, make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Share this link with your friends. Ask any questions, comments, anything in the chat. When you see me look over, I'm checking the chat. I see Matt in here. Hello, Andre. I appreciate you. And then you can find me basically anywhere at Jedi Modi, as you see on the bottom of the screen here. And let's get into it. So the first play that we're going to go ahead and lock in here, this is in the Knicks versus Magic game. We're taking Jalen Brunson, 30 plus points, plus 130 odds at DraftKings. So if you remember on Wednesday's show, we targeted guards against the Magic, and that did come through for us, kind of. I went with 2 guards. I had Maxey and I had DeAnthony Melton. Maxey, unfortunately, did not hit, but DeAnthony Melton did hit, and we laddered him up to 20 points at plus 400 odds, and that came through for us. So it was very nice to get that to cash. Let's hope that we can have success with another guard today. Again, Jalen Brunson. As good as the Magic defense is, what I mentioned on Wednesday's show is the one area in which they struggle is specifically guarding guards, point guards, shooting guards. Over the past month, the Magic are allowing the 8th most points per game specifically to opposing point guards. Now, keep in mind, this is a Magic defense that allows the 6th fewest points per game in the NBA and has the 5th best defense in the NBA according to net rating. So allowing the 8th most points is not, it's not Pistons, it's not Spurs level. It's still pretty bad. Looking at Brunson, he had a 2-game stretch, both against the Bucks, in which he blew up for 30 plus points. He had a quiet game last game against Oklahoma City. Good defense. Let's hope that Brunson can get going in this one, getting us to 30 points, cashing this play for us. Next up, in the Nets versus Wizards game, I'm taking Mikal Bridges, 25 plus points, plus 130 odds at DraftKings. So we're going to talk about the Betting Pros app in a little bit, but this was a play that I found using the app and the cheat sheet specifically. Now, the main line, the actual positive EV play is Bridges over 22.5, but I decided to pump this bad boy up to 25 points to get juicy odds. The reason why I did that is because Betting Pros projects him to score 26 points. So instead of taking it for 22.5 at minus money, you take it for 25 plus, you get it for plus money. That's the strategy we've been doing all year. That's what's made us have so much success. Now, this stat I'm going to give out is crazy. Now, it's a little bit complicated, so I'm going to try to describe it as easy as possible. So if you look at all 5 positions on the court, point guard through center, and you look at all 30 teams, there's 150 possible matchups, right? 5 multiplied by 30 equals 150. That's how we got there. If you look at small forwards against the Wizards, They are literally the worst defense in the NBA at any position against any team. Literally 150 out of 150 in terms of the Wizards defending the small forward position. Hopefully that made sense. It basically just means if you take every position against every team, the easiest possible matchup, the worst possible defense is the Wizards against small forwards. Now, we went with Bridges on Wednesday, and we got burned because the Nets only played their starters for one quarter. It was the weirdest thing. I had never seen anything like that before. It was not announced until right until leading up until the game. So there's really nothing we can do about that. It's just bad luck. That happens. With that said, this is absolutely a smash matchup. Now, Bridges has only hit 25.6 games this year, but he does have a couple blow-up games, multiple 40-point outings. He could definitely do that today against this joke of a Wizards team. I'm laddering him up to 30 points for a quarter unit. It's plus 350 odds for 30-plus points at DraftKings. So the official play that we're actually going to track is whether he gets to 25. But if you want to ride with my ladder play, we're taking him again. Quarter unit, 30-plus points at plus 350. Now, Andre's asking in the chat, what was the reason Brooklyn rested all their starters? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. It wasn't really announced until, like I said, like books just took away props 10 minutes before the game. I'm not really sure what happened there. It was weird. I don't foresee that happening again today. That would be really weird. But again, the official play is Mikal Bridges 25-plus points. And if you want to take my ladder prop, we're taking him up to 30. We're 2 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I want to talk about the Betting Pros app. So I mentioned literally with this last pick how I use the app. You can find it bettingpros.com/apps. What I use the most on the app is the prop bet cheat sheet. You can find Betting Pros recommended picks based on the current lines and what the Betting Pros projections are. So it takes into account the odds, the sportsbook line, and then the Betting Pros projections. It's kind of cool. You can filter it by percent chance that the bet hits. So if you want to lock in a parlay and you want to be a little bit safer, you can sort it, I should say. Sort, not filter. You can sort by likelihood the bet hits according to Betting Pros. You can sort by positive EV. You can sort by difference, the biggest difference between Betting Pros and the sportsbook over under. That's kind of how I find a lot of my pumped up props. You can also find and tail me on all of my picks on the app, bettingpros.com/Modi. And then we're going to talk about the premium subscription in a little bit. But you can sign up and download. You can download the Betting Pros app. You can sign up for a free trial of their premium offering. And then it also, and I think this is really cool, you can sync the app directly with your sportsbooks. So it'll log all of your information for you, your profit, your loss, all that good stuff. I think is super cool. And it looks like I have a note here from my great producer from CBS News with the Nets returning from a 5-game trip to the West a week before Christmas, finishing up second 7 back-to-back. Vaughn cited the heavy workload for the decision to rest his players, saying he'd be putting them in harm's way if they didn't get a break. So I'm guessing that's what happened last time. That doesn't happen, or that's not going to happen in this one. All right, next up. So we're 2 picks deep. Now for our third one. In the Kings versus Hawks game, we're taking Keegan Murray, 20-plus points, plus 165 odds at DraftKings. So this is actually another situation in which we are laddering Keegan Murray up to 25 points. Again, quarter unit on the laddered play, 1 unit on the official play of 20-plus points. So one area, and I've talked about this in a lot of my write-ups here, one area that I have found a lot of success this NBA season is targeting specific matchups. Now, I like the flip-flop method. I like fading recent results. I also like going matchup hunting as well. It's what we did with the first 2 picks. It's what we're doing here as well. Now, the Hawks defense is terrible, but one area in which they are especially terrible at is guarding forwards. That's both small and power forwards. They are considered if you're looking at point total props specifically, the second best matchup for both small and power forwards, which is really bad. Technically, Keegan Murray plays the 4, so he's listed as a power forward. And over the past month, the Hawks are allowing the second most points per game specifically to opposing power forwards. Now, Keegan Murray is a little streaky, but he is coming on. He's playing pretty well recently. So he's only scored 20 or more points in 7 games total this year, but he's done it in 5 of his last 10 and in 3 of his last 5. Now, his last game was gross. He only scored 5 points on 2 of 11 shooting, hence the streaky nature of Keegan Murray. But tonight, He should have a bounce back game against the Hawks. He's got a very easy matchup to do so. Hopefully he can come through for us. Next up, same game. We're sticking with the Kings versus Hawks. So this is going to be the game where we have two plays. We're taking Trae Young, 30 plus points, minus 120 odds at DraftKings. So I like this one as a fade of recent events. Now, when I say recent, I mean legitimately the most possible recent event we can have, which was last game. Last game, the Hawks played. Trae Young scored 21 points against the Bulls. But if you look at prior to that game, he had scored 30 plus points in 7 straight games and in 10 of 11 games as well. So he had been absolutely on fire. Then he had a down game against the Bulls. So we're riding him tonight to get back to his scoring ways after an insane streak that ended last game. Now, I'll admit I don't love the minus 120 odds, but we're getting even with that, we're getting such good value on getting Trae to score 30 points. In general, the Kings defense is not good. They're 21st in the NBA in terms of net rating. One area in which they kind of like the Hawks, but not as aggressively. But one area in which they struggle even more so than normal is against point guards. They've allowed 8 of their last 10 point guards against them to go over their point total over under. Now, that's both bench players, that's starters, that's any point guard against the Kings. 8 of the last 10 have gone over their point total over under. They are listed as the 5th easiest matchup for point guard props, for point guard point props specifically. And over the past month, they're allowing the 6th most points specifically to opposing point guards. I am just making sure I am laddering him up to both 35 and 40 points as well. 35, I'm putting a half unit on. 40, I'm putting a quarter unit on. The official play is whether he gets to 30. But again, if you want to tail my ladder props, you can do so. Next up, our 5th pick of the slate. This is in the Raptors versus Celtics game. And we're just taking the over. Over 224.5 is what I got it at. Minus 110 odds at DraftKings. So this is going to be my first of 2 mainline plays for today's slate. And this was mostly a line shopping play that I found using the Betting Pros app. So instead of using the cheat sheet, which I mentioned a ton, this play I found pretty much just from the odds page. Now, find positive EV plays is literally just by line shopping. You compare the main lines of every single sports book, and then you just want to find situations in which you can get a pretty good price, a really good price on DraftKings, which is what we did today, how we found this play. Every other book is offering 225.5 or 226 for this play. And I know that a total in the 200s, it might not seem like a big deal getting a point or a point and a half, whatever. But generally, main lines, especially for a sport like the NBA, they're bet so heavily by so many sharps that the lines are so tight that even a point or point and a half difference between the books is a pretty big deal over the course of time. How often do you hear about a bad beat where you take the over 230.5 and it lands at exactly 230, something like that? So over the course of time, getting these point and a half differences is a really big deal. In terms of the matchup, Celtics defense is awesome, but they're on a second half of a back-to-back in a game that went into overtime yesterday. Now, tired legs can affect shooting, so there is, yes, some risk here, but it can also affect defensive intensity, rotations, all that stuff. So I'm expecting points in this one. Hopefully it can go over. Before I get into my next pick, we're 5 deep, halfway done. I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. So if you're looking to up your sports betting game, look no further than the Betting Pros Sports Betting Discord. You can find it at bettingpros.com/chat. I'm in the Discord. There are a ton of way better people than me also in the Discord, expert handicappers giving you free picks. That's right. It's completely free, not a paid Discord. For NFL, even though the season's winding down, you can get NFL, NBA, college basketball, bowl season in college football, NHL, player props, live betting, futures, pretty much anything you can ask for, you can find in the Betting Pros Discord. You can connect with individuals such as yourselves who are joining me today in the stream. I appreciate you. You can connect with other guys like yourselves. Excuse me. And then you can also elevate your own strategy by getting insights from the pros. So join us in the Discord. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. As I mentioned, we're 5 deep. Our 6th pick of the slate in the Bucks versus Cavaliers game. Damian Lillard over 28.5 points, plus 190 odds at DraftKings. So another situation where we are matchup hunting here, this time point guards against the Cavaliers. Now, it's kind of funny. Dame, for about a week or so, maybe seven games, Dame's over-under was in the high 20s, close to 30. Today, it's down to 24.5, despite the fact that he's been playing well and despite the fact that he has a pretty good matchup against the Cavaliers. Now, last game Dame played, he did have a little bit of a rougher game against the Nets, but again, that was a weird game where the Nets benched their starters after the first quarter. Dame only scored 12 points on 4 of 10 shooting in that one. Prior to that game, he had scored 30-plus points in 4 of his last 6 games, so he had been playing well recently. On the year, the Cavaliers are giving up the 7th most points per game, specifically to opposing point guards. Now, if you look at their last 2 games, it's generally been good against point guards, minus the fact that Luka put up 37 against them. Prior to that, the Cavs had allowed 6 straight point guards to go over their point total over-under. That includes 35 from Trae Young. And then again, the last game, Luka put up 37. Hopefully, Dame can have a good game tonight coming through for us for getting just below 30 points or more. Next up, 7th pick of the evening. In the 76ers versus Rockets game, we're taking Tobias Harris under 21.5 points, minus 110 odds at DraftKings. So someone in the chat is asking about the total for the Raptors Celtics. Looks like it moved. Andre is asking, it moved up to 225.5. 225.5, I would still compare it to the other books. If every other book is still at 225.5, I would stay away. If other books have moved to 226 or 226.5, then I would still take it on DraftKings, would be my advice there. But again, this play, Sixers Rockets, we're taking Tobias Harris under 21.5 points, minus 110 at DraftKings. Tobias has been playing well recently, so this one is going to feel scary. So we're going to go ahead and call this one. This is our Pepto play of the day. It's going to feel a little bit gross, make your stomach queasy, but I absolutely love this play. It might be one of my favorite plays of the entire slate. The reason why this number is so high for Tobias is A, because Joel Embiid is out. And if you look at the past 3 games Tobias has played, 2 of which Embiid has missed, Tobias has scored 33, 27, and 22. Again, those last 2 were without Embiid. So Tobias has gone over in 3 straight games. He's gone over in 2 straight games without Joel Embiid. And even with Embiid still being out tonight, we are fading those recent results. So I mentioned Tobias has gone over in 3 straight, 2 without Embiid. If you look at the first 3 games of the year that Joel Embiid missed and Tobias Harris played, Tobias scored 15, 12, and 14 points. So yeah, he's gone over in 2 straight games with Embiid. This is not a situation where he consistently goes over in games that Embiid misses. If we date back to last year, which I understand isn't perfect, but if we date back to last year, Tobias has only gone over 21.5 points in 8 of 21 games that Embiid has missed. In my opinion, this number is way too inflated from a recent unsustainable scoring stretch from Tobias. He made 4 3-pointers against the Heat. He attempted 7. He never does that. This is also a really, really difficult matchup against the Rockets, who are at home and have an awesome defense. The Rockets allow the 4th fewest points per game, specifically to small forwards, which is what Tobias plays. Overall, the Rockets have the 4th best defense in the NBA according to net rating, and they allow the 2nd fewest points per game as well. So I love this Tobias Harris play. Again, it's one of my favorite of the slate. 7 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, and I promised I would talk to you about it, I'm here to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway to the Betting Pros premium subscription. So if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, it's a place where you can bet smart, not bet hard. I was literally just talking about how in this world, it's not about working hard, it's about working smart. You can do that with your bets as well on the premium, using the premium subscription. All you need to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, which hopefully you are already doing or already have done. If not, please click that subscribe button. Other than that, you just need to comment. So the 2 things you need to do is subscribe and comment, and that's how you can be entered to win the 1-year premium subscription giveaway. The winner will be announced right here on the channel, so make sure to turn on your notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes drop. But comment, subscribe, and that's how you can be entered. Hopefully, you win the 1-year premium subscription giveaway. I mentioned it a ton how I use the app. It's incredible. Highly, highly recommend it. So we have 3 picks left to go. Next up in the Thunder versus Nuggets game, we're taking Chet Holmgren under 1.5 made 3-pointers, -110 odds at DraftKings. So this was a play that I found directly from the Betting Pros cheat sheet on their recommended plays. It's a 33.5% positive expected value play. Betting Pros projects him to have basically 1 made 3-pointer in this one, obviously, which would cash our under. They give him a 69.9% chance. That's very nice. 69.9% chance of going under this play. It's 5 stars, according to Betting Pros. Now, I don't want to make it a habit of fading Chet because this is now the second straight stream in which we're doing so. But we faded him on Wednesday and he came through for us. So let's hope he can do that again today. This time, just taking his under 3-pointers. Now, overall, I'm a fan of Chet. I like his game. He's definitely a capable shooter, but he's not quite a knockdown stretch big yet. At least that's not how he's used on offense. On the year, he's only made 2 or more 3-pointers in 13 of 29 games. And I found this part interesting. Despite the fact that the Nuggets have Jokic at center, who's not he's not Bam at the center position. He doesn't cover a lot of space. The Nuggets play drop coverage. Despite that, the Nuggets allow the fewest made 3-pointers specifically to centers. I was shocked to find that out. A lot of times when you see teams play drop coverage with the center, it means that they end up giving a lot of threes to the opposing center. You just want a quick pick and roll and the center's open. You see that a lot with the Sixers, with the Cavs, with Jared Allen, but that's not the case with the Nuggets. Regardless, that's not the case with the Nuggets. They do not give up a lot of 3-pointers to centers. So I do think fading Chet in this market is the play here. Next up, 2 picks left in the Hornets versus Suns game. Kevin Durant, 30-plus points, +115 odds at DraftKings. Another banger, plus money banger, another juicy matchup that you want to target. This time, the Hornets defense, similar to the Hawks and the Wizards, they can't guard anybody in general. One area in which they struggle a lot is specifically against power forwards as well, which Durant does play for the Suns. Over the past month, the Hornets are allowing the 4th most points per game, specifically to power forwards. And overall, 7 of the last 10 power forwards have gone over their point total over under. Now, all 3 that missed were bench guys that don't play a ton, like Kobe Brown for the Clippers had an over under of 4.5 and he went under. But guys that actually start and play real minutes, they all went over against the Hornets. Now, Durant overall has been good this year, despite the fact that apparently the Suns are frustrated with him. He's been good. Now, admittedly, he's in the midst of a colder streak from a scoring perspective. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been as good as scoring as much as he was at the beginning of the year. So there was a stretch in the middle to the end of November where Kevin Durant scored 30-plus points in 7 straight games. Since then, he has only done it in 2 of 9 games, but of all those 9 games, he has scored 27 points in 8 of 9. So he's consistently been close, just makes one more 3-pointer. He's getting us to 30. Tonight with this matchup, with how well he's been playing overall, I'm confident that Durant gets back, getting us 30 points, cashing this banger. Don't bother me. Appreciate the content. I appreciate you for joining in. And last up, our 10th and final pick of the slate in the Spurs versus Blazers game. Our second of 2 main lines, Blazers -5.5, according to the Betting Pros consensus. You can get it at -6 on DraftKings, but you can also get it at -5.5 per the Betting Pros consensus line at -110 odds. This is the ultimate flip-flop method. People that follow me know I love to do this. And it's similar to the Tobias one. I absolutely love this play. Those are probably my 2 favorite plays of the day. As a side note, I also like Wembanyama's point total under as well. Not going to track whether he hits that or not. It's not an official play, but I do like that as an honorable mention. These 2 teams literally just played yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, and the Blazers got spanked by the Spurs. Now, the final score was only Spurs winning by 13. That game was never close. The biggest lead that the Spurs had in that game was 28. The Blazers didn't lead for a single minute. So you're probably asking yourself, okay, well then why are the Spurs 6-point underdogs with all that? Number one, Anthony Simons didn't play yesterday. I know that because I took his point total over. It's also because the Spurs, even with last night, they stink. People are going to see yesterday's score and think, oh, I'm going to bet the Spurs today because they just beat them. But the reality is, the more likely scenario is that things swing back the other way, which is why the Blazers are a play here. Even with yesterday's victory, the Spurs have a 5-25 record, and they have the worst net rating in the entire NBA. Yes, even the Pistons, who have set a record for most consecutive losses in a season, have a better net rating than the San Antonio Spurs. I normally don't do this for spreads, but I think this is a situation where you can take an alternate line for the Blazers. We're only going to track whether they cash -5.5 for us, but an alternate line -9.5, -10, even -14.5, I don't hate. That rounds out our 10th and final pick of the slate. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Remember, if you want to bet the last game that I didn't get to, Grizzlies versus Clippers, check out the cheat sheet over the course of the day as soon as player props get posted. Remember to check out the Betting Pros app at bettingpros.com/apps, the Discord at bettingpros.com/chat, and the 1-year premium subscription giveaway. Comment and subscribe. This has been Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Hope everybody has a great new year. I appreciate you for tuning in. Let's all win our bets today. Have a good one.